coming. He says Iran will be hit again if it tries to rebuild its nuclear infrastructure. The president spoke at yesterday's meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. The two leaders talked about implementation of Phase 2 of the Gaza ceasefire. Among other things, it calls on Hamas to disarm. The president says Hamas had better honor its commitment to lay down its arms. The president confirms a U.S. military strike on a docking facility in Venezuela, where, according to Mr. Trump, illicit drugs were loaded onto boats headed for the U.S. and elsewhere. A powerful winter storm that's been pounding the plains, the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, continues its eastward march, spreading snow and ice, fierce winds, and bitter cold as it goes. The Dow futures are up 4 points. More details at srnnews.com.
So Pure Talk just had their best year ever and asked me if I'd like to thank their customers on their behalf for being so awesome. I said, sure. It's important to say thanks, especially this time of year, which is why, as one of their many satisfied customers, I should probably thank Pure Talk first for keeping their customer service in this country and for providing hundreds of American jobs. I appreciate that. I also appreciate their Roundup program, which makes it easy to support America's Warrior Partnership and join the fight against veteran suicide. And I love that Pure Talk donated 1,000 hand-sewn Made in America flags to veterans around Independence Day. And of course, I really appreciate their generous support of my own foundation, MicroWorks, and their commitment to help us train the next generation of skilled workers. Having said all that, it's now my pleasure, on behalf of everyone at Pure Talk, to thank you sincerely for choosing to do business with an American wireless company that actually stands for something. And one more thing. Happy New Year.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The Insurance Agency. Insurance the way it should be.
With NWKS Radio News, I'm Connor Schuh. After multiple extreme wind events rushed through northwest Kansas, the KLOE 730 radio tower in Goodland unfortunately fell down this past weekend. That means it will no longer operate, and the 77-year-old station will be silent for the first time in a long time. 730 Gold KLOE first hit the airwaves in 1948, providing farm reports, high school sports coverage, and more over its long operation. It also housed the Good Neighbor Hour, a morning show hosted by Riley Halligan. The tower itself fell down in the night between December 27th and the 28th, toppling southwest into a nearby field. There were plans to stabilize and potentially rework the tower, but crews couldn't reach the site before the fall due to the holidays. Thankfully, the fallen tower caused no injuries or property damage. So all this coming from the big windstorms in December, mid to late December. For these and other stories, go to nwksradio.net.
Today we'll see a very pleasant afternoon. Highs will reach in the mid to upper 50s under sunny skies, while it stays dry and winds expected to stay below fire levels with west-northwest direction at 5 to 15. Tonight will be clear with southwest wind around 10 miles per hour, low of 24. Tomorrow the warm-up continues with highs climbing into the low 60s. West-northwesterly winds remain light at 5 to 15. Then it will be clear and calm for New Year's Eve celebrations, and overnight lows will be in the upper 20s. A sunny and mild start to 2026 on New Year's Day, Thursday. Highs in the upper 50s to around 60, lows of 26. And Friday and Saturday, it'll continue to be above average warmth, mild and dry. Perfect for outdoor activities with highs in the low to mid 60s and lows around 30. West winds at 5 to 15 miles per hour will continue, and no elevated fire risk is expected. This meteorologist Chris Schrumick at the NWKS Radio Weather Center.
Merry Christmas from the Farmers State Bank in Oakley. We invite you to stop into our lobby for coffee and cookies throughout the month of December as our small way of saying thank you to our loyal customers. We appreciate your business in 2025 and throughout our 118 years of community banking and look forward to serving you in the new year. Farmers State Bank of Oakley, member FDIC.
Kick off 2026 ready for whatever winter brings. At Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, they've got the gear to start the new year strong. Get organized with rugged storage totes. And when the snow starts falling, If it does, power through it with Ego and Craftsman snowblowers. Or if it's just the light stuff, blow it away with Ego leaf blowers. And don't forget ice melt to keep your sidewalk safe all season long. New year, winter ready. Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby. Helpful folks, trusted brands, and everything you need to get it done.
The holiday season just got brighter at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Wrap up the year with 0% for 36 months on all 2026 Chevrolet Trailblazer and Equinox models. Or slide into a new GMC, 1.9% for 36 months on a 26 Arcadia, plus up to $7,000 in rebates on a 26 GMC Sierra 1500 Elevation with Turbo Max with eligible trade-in. Big savings, big style, and big holiday cheer. Only at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Stop in today or visit online at hurlchev.com.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The insurance agency. Insurance the way it should be.
At Ray Community District Hospital and Clinic, they believe in promoting healthier living through compassionate quality care. From state-of-the-art maternity care to life-saving emergency services, their dedicated team is there for you and your family. Whether it's managing diabetes, navigating recovery, or receiving specialized treatments, they're committed to your well-being. Discover the difference a community-focused hospital can make. Visit rayhospital.org today to learn more. Ray Community District Hospital and Clinic. Your health, our priority.
Need a porta potty or septic pumping in Northwest Kansas? Call Topside Portables and Pumping, your local family-owned crew. They've got clean, reliable toilets for weddings, farms, and job sites, plus full septic services, RV waste, fertilizer tanks, and more. Available 24/7, because when nature calls, they answer. Call 785-728-8089. That's 728-8089. Topside Portables and Pumping. Reliable, local, clean.
You ready? One, two, three, four! It's time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
The amount of money getting thrown around to quarterbacks who haven't done diddly squat is amazing to me.
And Connor Schuh.
He's a new guy.
The High Plains only local sports talk show. Broadcasting live on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 and video streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Who's got it better than us? Nobody!
Covering it all from the preps.
He's at the 10, the 5, he dives for the end zone, he's in! Touchdown, Cowboys!
To the pros.
Line drive, left field, base hit. Here comes McMahon, he'll score! Ball game!
The Blitz is presented by Hurl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank. Along with
Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell, the Insurance Agency, Pest Away LLC, Topside Portables and Pumping, and the Farmer State Bank in Oakley.
Let's go to work.
Here comes Torrey up the right side, hooking a pass cross court. Jefferson out to Momchilovich for three. Good! Milan Momchilovich buries a three.
Shotgun snap, Cousins. Hands off Robinson, breaks a tackle to the right tackle of the 10. Breaks away at the 20, down the sideline 30, chase to the 40, foot race 50, down the sideline 40, 30, chase to the 10, 5, touchdown! What a run! 93 yards! The terrific Bijan Robinson!
Right side, knocked away. Fulgaris up ahead to Sturts. Combs back to Fulgaris with the one-handed flusheroo.
Good Tuesday morning, everybody. We're back on the Morning Blitz on this December the 30th. Glad you decided to join us on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 or NWKSradio.net or the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Appreciate you all tuning in here on this Tuesday. A cool start, but not as cold as yesterday. 26 degrees, actually doubling the temperature from yesterday when we kicked things off on Monday, but going to be a high of around 53 today here in the tri-state region. Connor Schuh back with us in the cell of the studio over there in Colby, the cell. I thought you'd bring more stuff back, maybe some Christmas paraphernalia or something. You're still in the psych ward over there.
I know. I've got some stuff coming down the pipe. I brought a sickness back with me. I got a cold.
Brought a cold back? You didn't even have it yesterday, so you must have picked that up in St. Charles.
I think I did. It was kind of building, and I was able to kind of hold it down while I was on the air yesterday. But now it's persisting, Ross.
It's persisting. Lots of orange juice, lots of milk. Get your calcium and your vitamin C.
Got the water on deck too.
Yeah, you can hydrate all you'd like. You need your calcium and your vitamin C to get that get your immune system back to firing at full strength. So
That is true.
best of luck with that as you push forward. I'm glad we're not in the same studio today sharing our wonderful colds. So like I said, I knock on wood, I have been feeling pretty good here recently, and I'd like to keep it that way as long as I possibly can. Anyway, well, the rest of the trip back home, pretty smooth. I should say back to Colby, pretty smooth from eastern Missouri yesterday.
Not too bad. Not much wind. It was pretty clear and sunny. No rain, no nothing. Because it was when the first half of my trip, when I was in Indiana, it was pouring. I couldn't see like a few feet in front of me for a good half-hour stretch there. But thankfully, once we got through Missouri, everything kind of cleared up, and it was easy, to say the least.
Yeah, well, I'm good. I'm glad to hear it was smooth. What time did you get back in the in western Kansas?
I think I got back at like 6 on the dot. I don't know how I managed that, but I kept it pretty tight.
About 5 hour. Yeah, I mean, so you need about 8. Yeah, that seems about right. About 6, a little bit around there. Seems about right. I think, like I said, you can go from Kansas City to Colby in about 5 hours. I think one time I did that, and then I'm just thinking of going all the way across the rest of the state of Missouri, which is another 3 or 4 hours. So yeah, that sounds about on par. But glad to have you back in the studios there, and let's get rolling on today's program. Today's show, we will be visiting with Bryce Simon, our NBA. He's my lone NBA kind of hoops guest, to be honest.
Yeah, the one.
Because we don't talk NBA that much, but we will a little bit. Bryce Simon, who is a co-host of Game Theory podcast, also covers the Detroit Pistons for Motor City Hoops. And also a Western Kansas guy himself will join us coming up here on segment 2 to discuss the NBA. Boy, some tough news possibly today coming for the Denver Nuggets with the news of Joker, possibly with some big time injury. We'll get some more on that with Bryce, and we'll talk to him about that. We'll talk to him about other topics as well. We'll also hit on some Western Kansas. I have a question about Western Kansas athletics as well coming up in segment 2 with Bryce Simon. And we will touch on a little bit of basketball for tonight. The Broncos catch another minor break on their quest to be the number 1 seed. I think they might have gotten it yesterday with some big-time news out of Chargers camp. We'll get to that coming up as well. And we're going to have another version, probably the last version of the College Football Power 5 for this year. We're going to talk about the remaining bowl games and, of course, the CFP ranking. It's coming up starting tomorrow. And we just hit into overdrive because you get into the kind of the best bowl games to an extent, and then you also get into a good slate of the playoff games, and then after that, we kind of get down to we whittle it down to the Final Four and the national championship and all that stuff for college football. So we will get to all that coming up in the College Football Power 5. As always, F&B Bank text line open at 785-899-2222. If you have thoughts and comments, would like to be part of the show, questions as well, hit us up on the text line. So let's I do have we got to start with a thought. Last night Monday Night Football, an interesting game. Second time, well, it was almost a loss, but it was the second time that the Atlanta Falcons blew a 21-point lead. Now they ended up winning the game last night 27-24 over the LA Rams. They were up 21-0 at halftime and almost blew a 3-touchdown lead. The Rams came charging back. The thing that stands out to me was the play by Jared Verse, the field goal block, and then the scoop and score all in pretty much one motion. And the thing that stood out to me the most about this game was that play, because anybody happen to see Jared? Did anybody else think when they saw Jared Verse take that ball and watch him run? This is a defensive lineman, by the way. Did he not look really good running the football, going the other direction? I mean, he looked like he was flying down the field. It blew my mind. Now, I understand that guys in the NFL are all great athletes, but a big guy moving like that, I mean, that was impressive. Also, by the way, the wave to the Falcons sideline as he continued his way down the field was pretty funny, too. But even though that wasn't the deciding play and they ended up losing the game to the Rams, I thought that was funny.
I think it felt like the Rams were going to win the game after that play. It seemed like all the momentum was in their favor, and I would like to see Jared Verse going at running back if Kyron Williams gets hurt and Blake Corum. Well, Corum didn't really play yesterday, but if both those guys go down, or he played a little bit, but he came out later. But if those guys go down, let's get him some reps at running back. Why not? We've seen some two-way guys every once in a while. I mean, we got Travis Hunter. We can have Jared Verse.
Put Jared Verse in there in short yardage. Put him in there.
I think he could do some damage.
He was impressive. I know that just stood out to me watching that game last night, was that play by Jared Verse in what was a 27-24 win for the Falcons. 51-yard field goal from Zane Gonzalez was what got it done there in the end for the Falcons, who get the big win and then kind of throw a wrench into things now in the NFC South. That kind of throws a wrench in there, and now depends on it was kind of a winner take all between the Bucs and the Panthers, and now there's a little bit more at stake for other teams in that mix there too, with the Falcons winning. But and it was a lot of stake last night for the Rams too. For those who weren't following, they were talking about a lot on the telecast. It was interesting, but the Rams with a win last night would have put themselves in the 5 spot in the NFC.
Yeah.
And now they could be in the 6 and the 7 spot, where they may have to go to Chicago or Philadelphia, which is way different than having to possibly face the Panthers. so made it a lot different. Matthew Stafford had a tough game. He did have 2 touchdowns, but also 3 interceptions last night. And Bijan Robinson, 22 carries, 195 yards. Of course, one of them was 93 yards long. Really long run for Bijan Robinson. But there, a quick little recap of Monday Night Football from last night. Second to last, was it the second to last Monday Night Football game? Might have been the last Monday Night Football game.
I'm sure there's one next week.
Might be one more left. I'll have to check the schedule on that. Don't have time to do it now. We got to get to our first segment topic, and that is a special edition of the College Football Power 5, a Tuesday edition of the College Football Power 5 with playoff and bowl games. Let's get to it. All right, Connor Schuh, a special edition of the College Football Power 5. I'm intrigued to see where we all go into this. So, honorable mention bowl game coming up here over the next couple of days as the college football season wraps up for the most part.
I've been looking at them, and I'm trying to look for something high scoring for this honorable mention, and I ended up coming up with Tennessee and Illinois. The over-under is 61.5. I think Joey Aguilar and Luke Altmaier are going to be letting it fly, and it's going to be a lot of points. It's going to be an exciting game in the Music City Bowl. So that's my honorable mention. Should be a good one. Get out of here, Texas and Michigan. Not interested.
You and me are in the same boat. Texas, Michigan did not make my top even 6. It did not make it. Part of me thinks that Michigan could get absolutely crunched with the news of their coach getting let go and what's been happening behind the scenes, and then the hiring of Kyle Whittingham, which is amazing for Michigan football in the long run. I just don't know if it does much in the short term. And I think Texas is going to be motivated. Arch Manning is there. He's ready to rock and roll. I think Texas probably wipes the floor with Michigan. So that did not make my top games whatsoever when it comes to this upcoming bowl slate, which, like I said, there's a lot of good games. I'm gonna play the Connor Schuh homer card here, and I'm going to pick Nebraska-Utah as my honorable mention game.
Interesting.
It's the line would say it's not going to be a good one. It's a 14-point spread in favor of Utah. This is the Las Vegas Bowl. I think it'll be played at Allegiant Stadium, home of the Las Vegas Raiders. But I think it's the spread that intrigues me the most. Is Utah is such a wide margin spread. Here's the interesting storyline. You got 2 teams that run it pretty darn well. Utah is exceptional at it. I think they're like top 5 in the nation in rushing offense. I mean, they can really run the football, and they've got a mobile quarterback. And all that stuff adds up to stuff that Nebraska has not been able to defend all season long. So I think that's probably the biggest thing driving the line for Utah is that Nebraska's rush defense has been pitiful all season, and that's the one thing that Utah does really good is run the football. And so Vegas is probably thinking, well, they're not going to be able to stop the run. Whatever. I think Nebraska, who has done some really interesting changes here over the last month, fired the defensive coordinator, fired the defensive line coach, have made fired the offensive line coach and brought in and those guys are coaching. Like the offensive line coach for Nebraska coaching the bowl game is not the guy who was coaching them through the regular season. It's not. Same thing with the defensive line. So it's very much an odd deal. Don't have the same defensive coordinator. They've got Phil Snow is his name. He's a friend of Matt Rule's. He's on the staff, but he's doing the defense coordinator. So I'm kind of intrigued to see what does Nebraska look like, because I do believe that if there's one side of the ball that you can do wholesale changes on in a month and a half and actually look decent and make some improvements, It's on defense because it's about want to and energy and effort. And I think we're going to see Nebraska play with some intensity. I don't know if Nebraska is going to win this game. I don't know how good the offense is going to be. By the way, Utah's defense has been pitiful this year. I think 113th against the run, which is a good thing for Nebraska. But it's so funny to look at the pictures, Connor, from the bowl game. They have, the best players standing with the coach for the trophy. And the two best players on offense for Nebraska aren't in the photo. They aren't there. Dylan Raiola's not there, and Emmett Johnson's not there. So it's so weird. These bowl strips are so odd. It's like you're playing with an entirely different team.
Is Emmett Johnson not playing?
No, he's not.
Oh, well,
he is
you think it's going to be a game?
I said,
We'll
I
see.
think they can cover the 14. That's what I said. Now, that might be 13 points, but I said I think they can cover the 14. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
All I'm going to say on that. So, anyway, Utah's defense has not been very good this year. So, I don't know. It's an interesting storyline. So, I'm going to make it the Connor Schuh honorable mention pick of the week. Homer pick of the week. Right?
There you go.
So, anyway, let's move on here. Let's get into the top 5.
Number 5.
All right, I've got the ReliaQuest Bowl, number 23, Iowa versus Vandy. This is going to be a fun one because I think this is it's run on run. Two teams that like to ground and pound a little bit, of course. Two running quarterbacks, Pavia. We know what he does on the ground, obviously. Over 800 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns. Then on the other side, Iowa with Mark Gronowski. I think he was one of the top rushers in the Big Ten in terms of rushing touchdowns, just in terms of any player. Yeah, he had 15 rushing touchdowns, which led the Big Ten in running backs or quarterbacks. He's a big dude who can pound the rock. They've got Kamari Moulton as well, another very good running back. So these two teams are just going to run it at each other play after play, and we'll just see what happens. I think it's going to be low scoring, just dirty, smash mouth football, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
This game coming up later in my Power 5 because it's way higher than number 5. Way higher. My number 5 game, I'm going to a college football playoff game. Ole Miss and Georgia going to be there at number 5. There's great storylines on both sides. We all know Ole Miss. They've already won a game. They routed Tulane in the first round of the college football playoff. We all know they're playing with now not their head coach they had most of the year with in Lane Kiffin. He's at LSU. So Pete Golding has taken over. He's the head coach at Ole Miss. They didn't look like they lost much of a beat in that game. I still think they're going to run into a buzzsaw in Georgia. I still feel like Georgia is kind of that team lying in the weeds that people maybe don't talk about enough, but they're just so solid on defense, special teams. Yes, they don't have a superstar quarterback or a superstar running back that's ran for over 1,000 yards. I mean, you look at the numbers. Trinidad Chambliss, quarterback for Ole Miss, has over 3,300 yards passing. Gunnar Stockton barely has 2,700 yards. So it's not even close in the stat comparison. Same thing for the running backs. Kejuan Lacey, 1,300 yards rushing and 21 touchdowns. The top running back for Georgia, Nate Frazier, 860 yards and 6 touchdowns. Like, the numbers don't compare offensively. But Georgia's defense, I think, is so elite, it's going to make things hard for Ole Miss. I think the Bulldogs find a way to get it done, particularly down there. And it's in Louisiana, which isn't that far to go for Ole Miss fans or Georgia fans, but even more for Ole Miss fans. But something about this game says that Georgia is just going to kind of make this game ugly for Ole Miss, and I don't think Ole Miss can pull that out. And so I think Georgia probably wins. But number 5, Ole Miss, Georgia is my number 5 in the college football Power 5.
Number 4.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like that Iowa game could have been a little higher for
me
too.
Certainly could have been higher. But
because
anyway,
this next matchup doesn't really inspire a lot of confidence in me. It's Bama versus Indiana, the Rose Bowl. I think Indiana's just going to stomp Bama, honestly. I mean, Alabama, they played around a little too much in the first round against Oklahoma, and they almost paid for it. And they're a very talented team, but I don't know if I trust him. Ty Simpson has looked a little shaky at times in some of their bigger games. I mean, he didn't look his best in the Iron Bowl, and he looked good down the stretch against Oklahoma, but I feel like that Indiana defense is just too good at times. And then Fernando Mendoza, also too good. I feel like that guy is just he's gonna throw for like 350 against Bama. I can see it. And I don't know if it's going to be a total blowout, but I think that's a game where Indiana's probably going to win by double-digit points. And it's not going to be much. It still might be a good game. I mean, because Bama's obviously, they're not scrubs. They're in the playoffs, so they could make it close. But this is going to be one of those where there's questions about the legitimacy of how good the SEC is.
It just means more, though.
That's what they say.
SEC. My number 4 game, I'm going with the game you mentioned already, Tennessee, Illinois. Close line. Tennessee favored by 3.5, pretty much because they're playing at home inside Nissan Stadium there in Nashville. They're going to have the home crowd advantage. But Illinois is a physical football team. That's the way Brett Bielema likes him to be. Tennessee has had a year that, I think it's in comparison been much of a down year, big down year compared to last year for Tennessee, who made the college football playoff, lost in the first round. But I don't know. Illinois, Tennessee, you think there's going to be a lot of points because the line says it could be 61.5 points, could be a lot of points scored. I think it's an intriguing game. Like you said, I will agree with you on that. A lot of points, but I'm going to put Illinois, Tennessee in the, what is it? Not the Tennessee Bowl. Liberty Mutual Music City Bowl. There we go. At my number 4. All right, into the top 3.
Number 3.
You already talked about this one a little bit, but I like this game a little bit more. Ole Miss versus Georgia. I think it's going to be fun because looking back at a point you said about the numbers on offense for Georgia, I think part of that is they're a little lower because they were blowing teams out towards the beginning of the year. So Stockton's counting numbers aren't really going to be as good, but you can't discredit the guys on Ole Miss. I mean, I think they're playing their butts off under Pete Golding, and you see stuff in the media and on social media that it really points to these players really not liking how Lane exited, and they're all kind of fighting behind Pete Golding. So it seems like they've really got something to prove here. And I think they're going to be playing with a fire, and they could pull the slight upset over Georgia. I think it's possible. Georgia obviously has one of the best defenses in the nation, but Ole Miss, they got something with Trinidad Chambliss and Kejuan Lacey, like you mentioned earlier. I mean, that's a great 1-2 punch on your offense, and I don't know a lot about how their defense is going to compete against Georgia team that's solid on offense, but does enough to get the job done. I think it's going to be a close game, and it's going to be a good watch.
I hope it is. I hope it's a good game. I hope to sit down and be able to watch that game and enjoy it. I hope it is a good game. I just got my gut feeling that Georgia's going to take care of business. My number 3 game, Dave, you mentioned earlier, Iowa-Vanderbilt. This game is one of the better bowl games that's not non-playoff. Vanderbilt probably could have been in the playoff, and boy, what a story that would have been if they were in the playoff. And think about Diego Pavia's had this little bit of a rocky last couple of weeks, calling out the Heisman voters and all that stuff. Now he's got extra motivation. Iowa is playing some of their best football at the end of the year. They always peak in November, does Iowa, and they're playing some of their best football now as they go into the bowl game. You mentioned it, 2 great running quarterbacks. That's the storyline. Mark Gronowski, who's a tank of a man, who will run over anybody. And then you've got Diego Pavia, who's just a winner. He just finds ways to win. Vanderbilt without their top tight end. I saw yesterday Eli Stowers is going to be sitting out. He's going to the NFL draft. Big loss for Vanderbilt there, but I don't know. I'm intrigued to see Vanderbilt against Iowa. This is one of those games where if it means more than the SEC better win this game, or is the Big Ten going to flex again on the SEC as they have so far in this bowl season? All right, into the top number 2.
Number 2.
You'd probably think I have this one number 1, but it's number 2. Miami and Ohio State for the Cotton Bowl. I don't think Ohio State's going to clean up. I mean, this is still going to be a competitive game, but Miami's a tough team. That freshman receiver, Malachi Toney, something I've been thinking about all week is his matchup is probably against Ohio State's weakest defender, Lorenzo Styles Jr., slot corner, and he's been not the best over time. Not a total liability, but against a guy like Malachi Toney, great freshman receiver for Miami. He lines up in the slot. He might make a tough night for him. And Carson Beck, depending which one you get, he could be really, really good or really, really bad. And I think with the way Ohio State's defense plays, we could get the really, really bad one. And Miami's defense looked pretty dang good last week against Texas A&M. I mean, holding them to 3 points, I don't think anyone expected that. So maybe they could hold down Ohio State's offense a little more than some would expect and keep this game a little bit closer and try to muck things up in the trenches and could keep it a bit lower scoring than you would anticipate. But this should be a really good game, a rematch of the 2002 Natty. So I think this one Should be a lot of fun.
Let's see. Who was in the 2002 Natty? Kellen Winslow Jr. was in the 2002
Oh, God.
Natty.
Don't even say that name.
Who else was in that?
Ed Reed.
Eddie Reed.
Maurice Claret for Ohio State. Come on.
Will Claret. That's right. Who was the quarterback then?
Craig Krenzel.
Craig Krenzel.
Yes. But to wrap it up, Ohio State, as we saw last year, does big things in the Cotton Bowl. They're going to do it again.
My number 2, Alabama, Indiana. I've got Bama taking care. I've got Bama, I think, hanging in this game a little bit more. I know you think Indiana's going to wax them, and they might. But I think Alabama. There's something about getting that first game under your belt, going on the road and winning on the road like they did at Oklahoma. And yes, it wasn't pretty. They had, it wasn't pretty. They got down big, but they stormed back. That had to give them some confidence. I feel like Alabama's going to play really, really good. And I think they're going to give Indiana a run for their money. I still think we're going to see some rust from Indiana getting this long break. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a really entertaining game between Alabama and Indiana. I really do. I just think just because the timing of it and how it all worked out, Alabama's going to give Indiana a run for their money. How about this storyline, though? The kings of college football now, Indiana, taking on the former kings of college football in in Alabama. How cool is that? I think that's so interesting. And who would have predicted it, too? If you would have asked me 5 years ago, would have never predicted it. No one would have, I don't think. It's ridiculous to think about that. Signetti, a former Alabama assistant, and Nick Saban disciple, makes it interesting. All right, and I think we're both on the same number 1 game. Oregon at Texas Tech, I have a feeling.
Yes, that would be correct. Oregon, a top 10 scoring offense and defense against Texas Tech, who has such a potent offense and then has the one defensive player that was even remotely considered for the Heisman, Jacob Rodriguez, who's just a force all in himself at linebacker. It's going to be a close game. It's probably going to be high scoring, and it's just going to be a good time. Perfect for the Orange Bowl. I think it's going to be a very, very entertaining game. Really, not much needs to be said about it. It's a 5 and a 4. That means it's going to be close, I think.
I think it will be a great game. I'm actually kind of curious if it'll be a lower scoring game because I think both defenses could be pretty good in this game. And I'm actually kind of curious on how motivated Oregon is. You got to know Dan Lanning, after what happened in the second half against James Madison, had to have just absolutely lit into his team this previous week in practice. You just had to know it. Because they'd be like, oh, we're going to light him up because they've took the foot off the gas and they let James Madison get back in the game. Dan Lanning, I know, used that as motivation to get his guys ready. And so, and for Texas Tech, they're in a spot they've never been before. And this kind of reminds me of like when Indiana was in a spot there but they were on the road at Notre Dame. You know, you're in this spot for the first time. I think they'll play well. I feel like Oregon maybe even has the advantage at this point in time, just because once again of that game under the belt will help them out. So I agree. This is the best game by far. Oregon, Texas Tech. Mark your calendars. Can't wait to watch that on New Year's Day. That is a 11 o'clock Central, 10 a.m. Mountain Time kick from the Orange Bowl in Miami. There you go. The College Football Power 5. Let's take a break. Up next, we will be joined by Bryce Simon. We'll talk some NBA hoops with him next here on the Morning Blitz on this Tuesday.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The insurance agency. Insurance the way it should be.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning. This is Tyler Ghosh with the Andersons in Overland Park, Kansas, with your morning market update. It is Tuesday, December the 30th. Overnight sessions have commodities set to open mixed. March corn is up half a cent at 4.42 3/4. The May is unchanged at 4.50 3/4, and the December is down half a cent at 4.62 1/2. Beans on the March are up 3 3/4 at 10.67 1/4. The May is up 3.5 cents at 10.78 3/4, and the Nova is up 3 1/4 at 10.79. Kansas City wheat on the March is up a quarter cent at 5.27 1/2. The May is up a quarter cent at 5.40 1/2, and the July is down half a cent at 5.53. Chicago wheat on the March is up 1 1/2 at 5.14 1/2. The May is up 3/4 cent at 5.25 1/2, and the July is up a quarter cent at 5.37 1/2. S&P 500 is down 25 points at 6,905. The Dow is down 200 points at 48,515. Nasdaq down 132 points at 23,461. Crude oil is up $1.25 a barrel at $57.99. Gold is down $200 an ounce at 4,352, and silver is down $5.87 an ounce at 71.33. If you have any cash grain you'd like to move or want to learn more about our freedom pricing tools, reach out and give us a call. You can reach myself, Tyler Ghosh, Jared Law, or Tom Saludo at 913-748-3000. If you're out in Colorado, give John Hankey or John Stiles a call at 970-744-4484.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
A piece of my life, like right now.
Send your thoughts to the F&B Bank text line at 785-899-2222.
Continuing on a Tuesday program, final show of 2025 for those who want to know. We will be back. There was a schedule. We will be back on Friday. We got lots of local sports to get to in on Friday, so we'll be back on Friday with the program, but no show tomorrow and Thursday here on the Morning Blitz. Let's welcome into the program I call him my NBA expert. Bryce Simon joins us now on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline. Good morning, Bryce. How are we doing today?
What's up, Ross? How are you? I wish the weather could make up its mind. I don't know what it's like in Goodland this morning, but I feel like down in Lakin and where I've been, it's keeps bouncing around all over the place. Can't decide whether it wants to be cold or warm. Or you guys probably got a little bit of snow the other day, no?
Yeah, we got a sprinkling of it. It wasn't very much. At least yesterday there was just a touch of snow on the ground, and there still is a few of it in some spots where it's shaded. But then, of course, the other thing, too, Bryce, is the temperature drops. I don't know about you, but on Christmas Day, I was wearing a Hawaiian shirt and shorts, and it really didn't make me very happy that I was wearing it.
It's funny, Ross. I was telling somebody yesterday, so Christmas Day, I went on a walk after, Christmas dinner, lunch, whatever. I had shorts and a T-shirt like you're talking. Listen, our kids are spoiled. They have like 3 different Christmases. They get one with each grandparent, set of grandparents. Then we get one at home. Well, we ended up doing ours on that Sunday morning where there actually was a little bit of snow. So it actually worked out okay. Like the one day here in the last couple of weeks where there was a little bit of like winter, white Christmas was the morning that we actually did our Christmas as our tight little family. So that part of it worked out okay.
Well, that's great. I'm glad to hear that worked out for you. That's awesome. Bryce Simon, our guest here, Motor City Hoops Game Theory Podcast, joining us right now on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline. I actually have a question for you about Western Kansas athletics real quickly here, and then we'll get into some NBA. But did you happen to notice? I took notice of this year, and I'm curious if you did too. Just and you saw it in Lakin firsthand, but the changes, particularly on boys basketball this year, with the coaching changes across the, whether it's the GWAC or Western Kansas, a lot of coaches taking jobs at other spots further east or bigger schools, and of course the fluctuation of a great senior class that left. Do you have any thoughts on that? Because I thought that was a fascinating thing going into this basketball season.
Yeah, there was a lot. Obviously, Nate Schmidt left Lakin, where I live, and went to collegiate. Mikey Dahl left up there, and others as well. And I guess I hadn't thought about like there being the common theme of it. And I guess if there's some sort of trend or anything that goes along with that, I would hate to throw something out into the ether, having not really workshopped that idea a little bit more. I don't want this to come off wrong, but because I love, Nate did a great job at Lakin. I love Mikey. But sometimes it is like cool just to see these new kids, young coaches, whatever, get their opportunities like Hunter Kirby here at Lakin. But it is a little bit different, especially in these leagues. It'll be like when Chad Novak, I don't know, that's probably still 50 years away from when he leaves Holcomb, but there is something different, a changing of the guard, I guess, whenever those kind of big names leave either coaching in general or leave the area.
Yeah, I thought it was a fascinating storyline this year, that's for sure. Let's get into the NBA. I tell you, big news last night, particularly for Nuggets fans. What's your thoughts on what could possibly be going on with Joker?
Yeah, I saw it. So as I told you, I was actually traveling. I went to watch a high school kid in Oklahoma. And so I've only seen the clip. I haven't seen, I keep waiting for the Shams bomb, whatever they used to call them, the Woj bombs, the Shams tweet or whatever to come out. I'm praying for something that's, reevaluated in a couple weeks and not something worse, but sure didn't look very good. And that would be bad for the NBA and just the view. I don't know that there's anybody better to watch than Nikola Jokic.
Well, tell you what, let's have a very broad question. Let's say you're talking to people who haven't followed the NBA basketball season that closely to this point. What are some storylines that people need to know about as we continue to push forward here early on in this NBA season?
Yeah, I think one thing is we're getting historic seasons from a guy like Nikola Jokic, and I don't want to if there's an older audience here, like Jokic his points per game are up against some of the best in the NBA or NBA history, but then he's also leading the NBA in rebounds per game, averaging more than some of the best players in NBA history, and he's also leading the NBA in assists per game, up against some of the best assist seasons that some of the best in NBA history have had. But I think the other thing is, on a given night, Ross, you can turn on an NBA game and see, if you want to see up pace and a lot of three-point shooting, you can watch a team do that. If you want to watch a team that's a little bit more defensive-oriented, you can watch that. Contrary to popular belief, there is defense played in the NBA, some teams more so than others. So there is a lot of optionality. If you have a preference for how you like to watch the game of basketball, the NBA does provide that. And I would say tune in right now, because every team is trying to be competitive right now. I know the tanking conversation is going on, but right now, most games are fairly competitive. Always there's outlier games, and most teams are trying to win right now. That will change later because it is a good NBA draft, but I think the NBA is in a good place right now in terms of a viewing experience.
Hey, Bryce, this is Connor, Ross's co-host. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, man. So I've got a question kind of on your mention of Nikola Jokic having a historic season. You've seen a few guys kind of come up with some semi-historic stat lines like that. Do you think that's a product of pace going up in recent years, or is it something else?
No, it's a very fair point, and it's one that's always important to take into context. In some worlds, I wish we would just normalize using per 100 possessions, because that kind of normalizes everything, right? Now, the hard part with that is then restructuring, okay, what is a per 100 points. Like what's the average? What's elite? What's per 100 rebounds? What's average? What's elite? So I do think that's important, but I don't want that to take away from the greatness that is Nikola Jokic. He is quite literally one of the greatest offensive players we've ever seen play this game. And like even his shooting splits in terms of being over 40% from three and stuff like that. Now there's real defensive limitations with Jokic depending on how he's feeling that night. But man, I'll tell you guys this is the best way I can say it. I have Coach Bamberger, who's the football coach here at Lake, and I took him and his wife to a game last season. And, you know, he's not even a huge basketball guy, right? He was a K-State football player. He was mesmerized. I shouldn't say mesmerized, but he was so impressed watching Jokic. Like, he enjoyed the heck out of watching Nikola Jokic play basketball. He is one of those guys that I think almost anybody can appreciate his talent.
Once again, Bryce Simon is our guest from the Game Theory podcast, Motor City Hoops, talking some NBA here on this Tuesday morning on the Morning Blitz. How surprising is it for the team that you follow that has stunk it up for so long now sit atop of the Eastern Conference?
Hey, Ross, man, I'm telling you, I've lived through it. This is what I tell people. I'm also a Chiefs fan, and so whenever they were good, you know, the last 10 years or whatever, people are like, oh, you know, no, I lived through the bad Chiefs years. I lived through Tyler Thigpen and all of those seasons. Like, I lived through it. My son is the one that has a skewed view of how this works as a fan. So my point is, I lived through those first 3 or 4 years covering the Pistons, talking about them every week on my podcast through a 28-game losing streak and 14-win seasons and all of that. We knew they were going to be good again. You know, they took a step forward last year. Number one in the East was not what I thought. Now, the Eastern Conference isn't great. The Cavs haven't been good. The Knicks are just now coming along. Orlando's had some injuries. But this Detroit team, again, this is one, if as a listener, if you're like, who should I watch in the NBA? The Pistons are a very physical, defensive-oriented team. So if that's like what you enjoy with basketball that kind of plays with the chip on their shoulder, the Pistons are actually a team that you would want to watch, Ross.
Bryce, I know Jaden Ivey's been out for a long time, and I'd like to get your take on this. How differently do you think they play without him?
Yeah, so that's been the biggest my phrase I always like to use about the Pistons is data collection. They're still in data collection mode. Like, okay, they found out Cade Cunningham's an all-NBA player, so obviously that's the face of your franchise. What is Jalen Duren? What is Asar Thompson? What do you need to build around? Jaden Ivey's kind of one of those guys they don't have their full data collection on. So for those who don't know, he broke his leg last year, got rolled up on against the Orlando Magic, and then he had a knee thing this year, and he's just recently returned, kind of been on a minutes restriction. And really what it is Detroit needs a second option. Cade's the number one guy. Who's going to be the number two guy? And they need to find that. And you see games where that's an issue, and they're trying to figure out whether Jaden Ivey is that guy or not. I don't know if he is. I think for them it would obviously be best case if he was, but they need to find that out. They've been bringing him off the bench. I kind of wonder if he doesn't get inserted into the starting lineup soon so they can really collect that data.
Do you think if the Pistons are ahead of schedule, and I maybe they're not, what is the biggest reason for their great success here so far this season?
I mean, Cade's a first-team All-NBA guy right now. And then I listen, JB Bickerstaff, the head coach, you know, obviously had gotten fired by the Cleveland Cavaliers, came over last year to Detroit. And last year was probably more surprising what they did and the turnaround that they had. But I think he just instills a certain level, a foundation of a culture in the way they defend, the way they go about their business, the intensity they play with. And then Trajan Langdon, so that might be a name that people are familiar with, played at Duke and, you know, had a stint in the NBA as well. He's their decision maker in the front office. I don't even think his title is not general manager. I don't know. Every front office, the hierarchy is a little bit different, but he's the ultimate decision maker. And he's put a nice roster around him. Like, I feel like he understands what JB wants, and then he's giving them the right guys to go and, you know, play the style of basketball they want to. They need some more shooting guys. Like, Duncan Robinson is very important for this team because they don't have a whole lot of other floor spacers and three-point shooters. But otherwise, it's a pretty well put together team.
Bryce Simon, our guest, Motor City Hoops Game Theory podcast, joining us on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline. A couple more for you here. On the Western side, the Thunder have completely, they were off to this unbelievable start, and they've dominated teams. They got the best record in the NBA, just 5 losses, 28 wins. But the Spurs with 23-9 and Wemby, are they ahead of schedule, or are they right where people thought they should be? Uh-oh, did we lose Bryce? We might have lost him. I think we might have lost him, actually. Bryce, are you there?
Am I back?
Yeah, there you go. Hey, you're back. All right, hey.
Okay. So I'm up and down. I'm watching the service on this, so hopefully it hangs on here for a little longer. The Spurs are definitely ahead of schedule, guys. Definitely ahead of schedule. The 3 wins over the Thunder kind of put them on the map here. It is a lot to do with Victor Wembanyama, but it's also their young guards and Steph Castle, who's the second year in the league out of UConn, and Dylan Harper, who's the son of Ron Harper, was on those great Chicago Bulls teams with Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen. He's a rookie out of Rutgers. And so it's real. And they also have a young coach. Like you talk about coaching changes. Mitch Johnson's the head coach at San Antonio, overtaking the legendary Greg Popovich. Not an easy thing to do. So I think they're definitely ahead of schedule, and Victor has a lot to do with that, but he's missed a lot of the year. It's those young guards that have made a huge difference.
Bryce, I've got one last one for you before we go. On the note of Dylan Harper, this rookie class, I think, has been a lot of fun. Can you speak to some of the guys and how they've played this year?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's been incredible, and we knew it was going to be a good draft class, but a lot of talk, and rightfully so, was Cooper Flagg, who's been awesome in Dallas in a weird situation there. But I think the one that people probably are most surprised by is his Duke teammate, Con Knipple, who's just been incredible in Charlotte. So a lot of really good players coming out of this class so far. Those guys have been very, very good. And Harper, again, he's one of those guys. He plays – all of those guys play both sides of the court. Again, like they're good offensive players, but are also making an impact on the defensive end.
Okay, one more for me, Bryce, before we let you go. Hopefully the cell service will hurt up. But on Game 3 podcast, you guys talk, of course, a lot of hoops, but you also talk movies. I've been trying to get caught up on some movies that I wanted to see here during the holiday break. Are there any that you would recommend that I need to see?
Oh, so real quick clarification there. Sam is a movie guy. I am not a movie guy.
You're not a movie guy? I thought you'd visit some movies with him at time again.
No, so here's the running joke on Game Theory is our producer, Andrew, will come on, and him and Sam will talk movies, and I'll get on my phone and play Clash Royale while live on the podcast. I let them talk baseball or cricket or movies, and I just kind of zone out and
jump
start
in
doing
when the basketball hits. All right, that works for us. He's Bryce Simon. Thank you, Bryce. No, Bryce, thank you so much for taking some time with us today. Appreciate you gutting it out through the tough cell service, and we'll catch up soon. All right, good stuff. Have a happy New Year. We'll talk to you in the new year.
Yeah, a real quick shout out Hunter Vaughn. We're talking about Western Kansas basketball from Colby, signed with Western Illinois. So I wanted to give him a quick shout out. Always love seeing these kids go on to the next level.
Absolutely. Thanks, Bryce. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, Bryce.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Once again, great stuff there from Bryce Simon joining us on the Morning Blitz. Yes, he does bring up a good point. I did see that during the holiday break that Hunter Vaughn signed to go to Western Illinois and continue his basketball career. Always thought Hunter Vaughn still is, but always thought he was one of the best young point guards I had ever seen out here. He is a guy who knows how to play the point guard spot at an elite level. And I hope he gets a lot of action at Western Illinois.
Quick thought. I saw his highlight tape come up on, I follow a couple like college basketball highlight pages on Instagram, and I saw his tape pop up like Hunter Vaughn committed to Western Illinois. And then that's the first time I've actually seen him play, and he can hoop. I believe it.
No, he's really good. And once again, it's about, to me, one of the big things about playing the point guard is controlling the pace. Having the game go, as fast. Like I feel like every time that he had the ball in his hand, every time in every game that he played in, it was like, his hand was on the throttle and he'll push the game faster. He would slow the game down. He was an amazing ball. He still is an amazing ball handler, and he's a heck of a scorer too. So, and he's not real big. It's not like he's 6'5" or anything like that. He's like maybe 6 foot on a good day, and that might be pushing it. So he's not real big. So I'm excited to watch what he does there at Western Illinois and see if he can continue to grow his career. So, all right, we're going to take our final break. Come back and wrap things up next here on the Morning Blitz.
Are pests making your home or business uncomfortable? Call Pestaway in Goodland, Kansas, serving all of Northwest Kansas. They provide top-notch pest control services to keep your space safe and pest-free. From ants to rodents, termites to spiders, our expert team is here to help with effective, safe, and affordable pest control solutions. Don't wait. Call Pestaway today at 785-728-7166 for fast, reliable service. Your home or business deserves the best protection.
The holiday season just got brighter at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Wrap up the year with 0% for 36 months on all 2026 Chevrolet Trailblazer and Equinox models. Or slide into a new GMC, 1.9% for 36 months on a 26 Arcadia, plus up to $7,000 in rebates on a 26 GMC Sierra 1500 Elevation with Turbo Max with eligible trade-in. Big savings, big style, and big holiday cheer. Only at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Stop in today or visit online at hurlchev.com.
With 9 locations across Northwest Kansas, the High Plains Co-op continues to stand with you, giving you the service you need and deserve. They're here for all of your grain, feed, and fuel needs, as well as helping you manage the marketing and crop insurance sector with their HPC risk management program. Visit them online at high-plainscoop.com to get the latest markets, ag news, and information, or call them today at 785-462-3351. That's 462-3351. Continuing to stand with you is the High Plains Co-op. Kick off 2026 ready for whatever winter brings. At Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, they've got the gear to start the new year strong. Get organized with rugged storage totes. And when the snow starts falling, if it does, power through it with Ego and Craftsman snow blowers. Or if it's just the light stuff, blow it away with Ego leaf blowers. And don't forget ice melt to keep your sidewalk safe all season long. New year, winter ready. Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby. Helpful folks, trusted brands, and everything you need to get it done.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland, and let's get you covered. The insurance agency. Insurance the way it should be.
From the locker room to your morning commute, it's all sports, all the time.
That's what I'm talking about. Sport!
On the Morning Blitz.
All right, just a couple minutes left to go here on a Tuesday program. Once again, no shows tomorrow and Thursday. We'll be back on Friday. In fact, actually, the Colby Eagles open up 2026 with a game against Larned, I believe is who it is, coming up on Friday. So are you ready for that game yet, Mr. Schuh?
We're getting prepped. I think it's going to be some late stuff just with the New Year turnaround. I don't want to bother, the staff too much before. So I'm giving a little space before, but once that New Year hits, we're on it.
I was curious. Is that at Larned or at home?
I have to let me double check that real quick, actually, because I think
I don't remember off the top of my head.
I think you're right. I'm pretty sure it's on the road. It is at Larned.
Oh, road trip.
Yeah,
got a road
trip we haven't done before.
New Year to kick off the new year with a nice long road trip to Larned for some hoops on Friday.
How far is that?
I would guess it's south of Hayes. So I'm guessing probably 2 hours.
Okay.
2 hours.
It's 70 and then.
Yeah. Yeah. For those who
do one of those.
Yeah. 70 and down. Yeah. South. I think you go to like Hayes and you go south out of Hayes. And then I think it's just a touch more further east, I think, is after you go south out of Hayes for a while, if I'm not mistaken. I've only been to Larned once. And I didn't do the driving that time. I rode with someone. So I don't remember the deal. Caught a ride. Real quickly, news. Yes, real quick, some news before we get out of here. Andy Reid says he plans to be back on the sideline next season, brushing aside any retirement speculation. So people were talking about if Andy Reid's going to step aside. He says, no, I will be back next year. Nebraska basketball women yesterday lost for the first time this season, 74-66 to 17th ranked USC. And Nebraska men trying to remain unbeaten before their massive game coming up here. I think it's on Friday or Saturday. I think it's Friday night against Michigan State. Nebraska takes on New Hampshire from Pinnacle Bank Arena tonight. Late tip, 8 Central, 7 Mountain Time. Nebraska 12-0, its best ever start. We'll see. You can watch it on BTN if you'd like to catch that game tonight for Nebraska basketball. But that's the only real regional local sports going on. Not much. It's a pretty slow time. On to the walk-off.
And back lifts his ball deep to right. How about a walk-off Grady? Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on the New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes swings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
A nice little break again for the Denver Broncos. I don't know if they needed it, but I mean, they are going to catch a little bit of a break. News yesterday, Jim Harbaugh says that Justin Herbert will sit out the regular season finale to help continue to heal that fractured left hand. So Trey Lance gets the start. Denver just needs a win at home to lock up the number 1 seed in the AFC, and this is certainly going to help them out quite a bit. Tell you, things are just kind of falling into place there for Sean Payton and the crew.
Things are certainly looking good. I think, 14 wins with a win, so pretty nice season.
I would say overall it is a really good season for the Denver Broncos at this point in time. Speaking of our Denver Broncos, shout out to our good friend Michael, who says, Happy New Year, fellas. And of course, go Broncos.
Thanks, Michael. Happy New Year to you as well.
Yes, same to you, Michael. We appreciate your dedicated listenership on this program and your texting. We appreciate it. I wish more people were like Michael and lit us up on the text line, whether we were right or wrong or whatever.
He's all over it.
Yeah, just be more like Michael if you want to be like that. That'd be awesome. So Broncos like that. And then also saw yesterday, Bill, it seems like it's a weekly storyline because it is. Bill Self says Darren Peterson's status is uncertain heading into the Big 12 opener at UCF. I don't know if we're going to see him play, folks. I really don't. I feel like this is like Zion Williamson in the pros for the Pelicans. Yeah. I don't know if we're going to ever see him play. Could be a great story about a guy that never saw the floor at Kansas because he was one and done, and he rarely played when he was able to play because of injuries. So can't be in the club if you're in the tub. And that's what's happening right now with Darren Peterson. What's the other one I've used before that you thought was funny? Oh, gosh. You can't be in the club if you're in the tub. Oh, gosh. I can't remember. I can't think of that, what it is.
Couldn't tell you.
The best ability is availability.
There you go.
Right now, that's not the case with Darren Peterson. For Connor Schuh, I'm Ross Volkmer. We'll see you on Friday. Have a happy new year. It's been the Blitz.